of The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. We are now joined by two of the best to ever don the burnt orange. We have national champion head coach Mack Brown and national champion quarterback Vince Young. All right, Vince, I'm gonna start with you because so much of this game, the hype on Arch Manning, and we here in Columbus hear that Arch Manning is a projected #1 pick in the NFL draft next year, which sounds crazy to me because he hasn't even played a full season yet. You guys are a little closer to it. So the Arch Manning hype versus reality, where do you come down on the future of Arch Manning?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes with playing at the University of Texas. That's how it is. That's, pretty much at Texas football is an NFL team in Austin. So when you come onto campus to play that position, you're going to get all the accolades. You're going to get all the hype. You're going to get all that type of stuff because our standards are very high. You got guys like Chris Sims. You got guys like Applewhite, the Streets. You got the legendary quarterbacks that have came through there and did a lot of things at that position. So, and then he has that last name, Manning. Come on now. Come on now. So, I mean, what I like about Arch, man, he's just a humble kid. He has said it in the media. He doesn't want nothing to do with that. All he cares about is his teammates and going out there and earning it and proving it to himself as well as the UT Nation as well as his teammates. So I like how he's humble and he's not worried about what the media is talking about.
It's Julian Sayin against Arch Manning, but it's really Ohio State against Texas Cardale. I think about the national title game when you went against Marcus Mariota. He just won the Heisman. Do you ever get suckered in, truthfully, to the my quarterback against their quarterback thing, or are you able to table that when you're out of the field?
Yeah, not necessarily. You table that when you get out there on the field because you're trying to do whatever you have to do to help your team in an offensive manner. Now, if they would have put Marcus Mariota on defense, now I'd have took that personal. That's a whole different situation. But no, because you got situations where, a quarterback may outperform the other quarterback, but long as my team get the win, I don't care what the stat line ultimately tells of that story. As long as I'm doing my job to help my team get that win. But Vince made a great point. You come to places like Texas, you come to places like Ohio State, and this Ohio State is Columbus and is really Ohio's professional sport. Mm-hmm. When you're really thinking about it, it's just like that in Austin with UT. So the expectations are always extremely high being a quarterback and a head coach at these universities. And that's why you see they have so much great tradition because led by great players at those two positions, at the coaching position and the quarterback.
Yeah, when you have the Browns and Bengals,
no
you better be the pro
backs.
team. You better be the pro team.
It'll be easy on my Browns there now.
They're all of our Browns, sadly.
Well, and let me say, if Marcus Mariota had been a safety, he'd been good at that too.
Yeah,
I
would think so.
He's really good.
All right, Coach, let's get you into this conversation. 2005, you came up here, and you did too, Vince. I want to ask you about that 2005 game. Vince, you throw a game-winning touchdown pass at the end of the game. Coach, what do you remember about the atmosphere here in Columbus that day when you guys beat the Buckeyes?
I think it's the best I've ever seen. We sat there at night. It is. The passion here. I talked to Coach Tressel, who I love and admire, before the game, and he and I said, the programs are so similar. Yeah. They're both in the capital. There's so much pressure, pride about these football programs, and they are like the pro team in Austin and Columbus. And you got pressure. You don't come here to lay down now. You come here for these type games, and it was really interesting. We played at night, and it'll be interesting to see the difference in a noon game because Texas is going to fly in tonight. They're going to go to bed. Right. They're going to get up. They're going to eat at 7 o'clock. They'll be at the stadium at 10 and kicking off at 12. Vince had to get in here in the afternoon. We had a walkthrough. The band was out there cussing us before the game. John Cooper came out. In fact, they cussed us so much, I went down and said, I'd love to see you dot the I, man. That'd be so cool. So they actually liked us better before we left. But Vince had all day. That's a long day now.
Hurry
when
up and wait.
You get up and hurry up and wait, and then you get there and you got 106,000 that really don't like you. Yeah. And they're speaking their truth to you as you're walking in. Vince was talking about I said, put your helmet on before you walk out. He said, why? Then they're throwing stuff at him. But it is a tremendous amount of pressure. Just think, these two teams don't have an identity yet. Mm-hmm. They've got things that people have talked about them, but they don't have it. They don't know who they are. When we leave here at 4 o'clock tomorrow, both teams are going to know who they are, and they're going to know what they got to fix. Now, unlike us, the BCS, you lose a game, you're out.
You're done.
Clemson loses to Georgia last year and still gets to the playoffs. So tomorrow is an opening ball game that's really important, but it doesn't kill either team's season.
And you want to add to that, and you can't be thinking about the team last year. That is not who you are.
Completely different teams.
A completely different team. Congratulations to Ohio State for winning the championship. That's awesome.
What a classy guy.
If I knew you guys was on a mission when y'all had that fight at Michigan.
After the game.
I feel like that momentum shifted for you guys, and then didn't nobody want to play y'all. Even when I knew we was matching up to them, I'm like, it's going to be a long damn game right here. But a lot of respect to you guys, but at the same time, as the Texas Longhorns and Ohio State, they got to understand that identity that y'all had last year is not who you are. That is gone. Quinn is gone. Everybody, I think y'all had 9 to 10 players go to the NFL.
14, but who's counting?
Yeah, 14. Well, hey, I'm going to keep it honest. It's like 13 to 14. I mean, it's like 11, you know what I mean? So I'm messing with you. But you got to understand that.
9, 10, 14.
Yeah, one is tied the record, the other is a lower number. It's fine.
Yeah. So, they got to understand that. And what Coach is saying and what everybody's saying, like, you got to go out there and figure out who you are and your identity is. And tomorrow is the perfect time to do that.
You go to 2006 then, and then Ohio State goes down to your place, Coach, and Ohio State gets the win in pretty impressive fashion. And
yeah, I don't remember that.
Remember that? Well, let me jog your memory.
No, I just don't.
I'll jog it. It was Colt McCoy's first start. And what's crazy about it is Colt McCoy, when he leaves Texas, is the winningest quarterback in college football history, since passed by Kellen Moore. But when he left, he was the winningest player. And he got throttled that first game by Ohio State. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because Julian Sayin, in his home stadium, is in the same exact spot. Might be a great quarterback, but this is a scary opener. So what do you remember about Colt McCoy that day and what it's like to open with a game like this?
Well, we had just won the national championship, as Ohio State did, and then they're handing out rings in the summer. So it's really hard to put that behind you.
Yeah.
It's hard to win a national championship. When you do, it's why most people don't win. I think Coach Day's done a tremendous job saying, put your rings away. Just leave it alone. It's good. It's in the past. This team hadn't done anything. But the pressure on Julian Sayin in this ball game at home for the first time, he completed 5 passes for 12, 5 out of 12 last year.
Yeah.
5 out of 12. And he's going against one of the best defenses in the country. And where Arch has at least played in tough games in critical situations. Played against Ohio State last year in a game that really mattered. Julian hadn't yet. So I think that's going to be, can Julian keep his composure? When Vince came in here in 2005, he was a man. He had played a bunch of ball. So, and that was a defensive battle.
Yeah.
But we didn't lose the game.
A.J. Hawk, goddamn.
Yeah.
Can somebody block A.J. Hawk? Goddamn.
Yeah. That's Vince's conversation when he would come to the boundary. Do we not have anybody to block A.J. Hawk?
Yeah.
Did you mention to them he's pretty good? But I think that's the key to this ball game is which quarterback's going to manage the game, not try to do too much, and turn the ball over.
A few years later in the 2009 Fiesta Bowl, you guys get the Buckeyes again. You win that game.
I remember that.
Yeah, now you're back.
I bet you
Yeah,
do.
suddenly that
Dave, at what point do you stop reminding them of good things?
You know what?
Please, come on.
Let me remind you of something. A guy named Chris Wells that day ran for 106 yards in that Fiesta Bowl.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
So give me some memories of that day, Beanie, when you guys won against the Longhorns in the Fiesta.
Oh, I remember being pumped up about that football game. I obviously understanding, Texas and their rich history of winning and being a great program. Having, I want to say he probably won all types of awards this year in Colt McCoy because he had a sensational game when we played him in 06, and he was just coming into his own in this ball game here by the time we played him. But knowing they had a team stacked full of high caliber players, and I was just pumped up to go against them in the Fiesta Bowl, and excited to try to right the ship on the season that we all thought we had a national championship caliber team, and we didn't quite get there.
Yeah, Cardale, what's it like when you play one of these games, a big non-conference? Because in general, your Big Ten opponents.
Yeah.
And they saw him in the Cotton Bowl last year, but it's a different vibe when you get one of these blue bloods like this in a non-conference.
Well, this is what it was like when you play one of these games. We about 16 hours from kickoff, and we have an unbelievable crowd here joining us live for the show. And as I scan through the crowd, and I see some former Buckeyes like J.T. Barrett, Jalen Holmes, JTT, I think you guys know who that guy is, right? Texas Nation, right? And then Ty Hamilton, and I see Donovan Jackson. It's unbelievable. So these type of games bring the stars out, and I guarantee you, Matthew McConaughey is going to be on the sideline tomorrow. So the stars are going to be out for Texas as well. The stars are going to be out for Texas as well. But getting ready for a game like this is like none other, because who's to say when next we're going to have an opportunity to play this caliber opponent? This is once every 10 years. I know we're going to see these guys. We saw them twice in the last 3 games for Ohio State, but this is a rare situation, and this is an opportunity to go out there and really etch your name in college football history for each of these universities.
Okay, everyone on stage here could be accused of being a homer. It is college football. It's the only thing more tribalistic than politics is college football.
Agree.
But let's do this. I want every guy on set to tell me your biggest concern about your team. What's your biggest nitpick concern? So Vince, let's start with you. When you look at the 202025 Longhorns,
Hold on, wait, let me
most?
record it.
Yeah, then we're going to clip
sure
this
you
on
get that.
social. We're going to
Send it to Sark.
Yeah, what worries you about the Longhorns?
Oh, man, I just the red zone. We didn't do good in the red zone last year against big schools, great opponents. We didn't do good against Georgia in the SEC championship. We didn't do good against you guys. So that's going to be a major factor. And I hope that coach did a really good job doing a training camp, making sure that he was, going in about the emphasis or how important it is when you get in the red zone against a school like this at a hostile environment like that. So I'll say the red zone going to be a major deal for me for tomorrow.
I remember Ohio State scoring a touchdown when you were in the red zone last year in the Cotton Bowl. I'm just saying. I think Jack Sawyer had. We'll talk to Jack about that later. All right, Beanie. Let's bring the Buckeyes down a notch here. What's your biggest concern about this Ohio State team?
You know what? There's so many different new faces on this football team that I'm kind of concerned about, but none more than the defensive line. I look around, and Cardale just mentioned a bunch of names here: Jack Sawyer, JTT, Ty Hamilton.
They ain't coming down that tunnel tomorrow.
Our starting defensive line is here in this crowd. So, that question mark is who is going to provide the pressure for Ohio State. Are we going to provide enough pressure on Arch Manning, a quarterback that is very good delivering the ball, standing in the pocket, that can escape the pocket as well? That's the biggest question mark for me. Are we going to get enough pressure to win this football game?
Mack, I know you've had many sleepless nights as a head coach. So if this was your team the night before the opener, what would be keeping you awake tonight?
It would be the 4 new offensive linemen for Texas. And you're not sure who you're playing against in the defensive line.
Yeah.
And then you've got to run the ball well enough to get your young quarterback started so you can get him some throws to make sure that he has confidence going through. But new receivers, new offensive linemen, can you run the ball? And can you run the ball well enough to protect, to let Arch have some plays? The good thing is he's mobile. He can run. So he can get away if somebody misses a block up front.
Cardale?
And I did see when Benny was talking about that game in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
That was Terrell Pryor that was the young quarterback, and we were trying to stop Benny so Terrell wouldn't be able to throw, and we couldn't stop Benny. So we didn't make Terrell throw that night.
Yeah. All right, Cardale, what are you worried about with these Buckeyes?
I think it's a package of the breaking in a new offensive coordinator with Hartline, right? And then breaking in a new quarterback with Julian Sayin as well is my biggest what-if moment. I wouldn't say concern because, one, the thing is, usually your offensive coordinator is your quarterback coach. He's spending more time with you. Well, he got his hands full of coaching 10 to 12 different receivers in that receiving room. So he's not getting too much of that intimate time, Vince, as you building with your offensive coordinator once he's your quarterback coach as well. So what is that connection is going to be like? Is he going to have the ability to really calm Julian down and really understand how to get him in a rhythm to help him really have success in this game? And then Julian, on the flip side of that, what are you going to do when you get sacked? What are you going to do when you get hit in the mouth, right? Only things that we've been seeing of him outside of all the hype was the mop-up duty opportunities, and 5 for 12 is not going to cut it in this game, like Coach Brown mentioned earlier. So those are my biggest 2 questions going in here. How are those 2 guys are going to get in sync early, because you don't want to get behind the sticks with this Texas defensive line. That Colin Simmons and the rest of those guys, they are nasty.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great game tomorrow. Thanks again to the live crowd for coming out here today.
Appreciate you
People
guys.
watching us on YouTube. Also, shout out to Dr. Pepper, bottled right here in Columbus. Try their new flavor, Dr. Pepper Blackberry in regular or zero sugar. We have more with the guys from the Stampede Podcast and from the Script Podcast coming up next. Stay with us live here on YouTube. A special live edition of The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Shout out to our sponsors making this possible today, Buckeye Basement Solutions, Wendy's, as well as Prime Sportsbook, and Dr. Pepper. Make sure you try their new flavor, Dr. Pepper Blackberry in regular or zero sugar, bottled right here in Columbus. It's a pepper thing. All right, something really cool about these two programs, guys, is I would argue that the two best games in college football history were played by these programs. And I'm talking about the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State against Miami, and then the 2005 Rose Bowl, USC against Texas. So, Coach, you've been in a big game.
Texas against USC.
Yeah, sorry, I got him backwards. Yes,
and Ohio State against Miami.
Yes,
right.
just paying reverence.
This is his first day. He's a little nervous, guys. He's a little nervous.
You guys can guide him. You can
help him along. He's nervous.
So, I know the coaches love to give the old cliche, same preparation, yada, yada, yada. But is there any extra juice in preparation, in vibes leading up to a game like this?
Absolutely. What you've got, you've got great players. You got to put them in position to perform, and you got to make sure they're confident, they're fresh, they're in shape, and they're ready to go. So the coach's body language has to be really important because these guys can read you like a book. If I'm sitting over here tonight biting my fingernails, they know it's not good, brother.
Yeah.
But so you got to have fun. This is a game of fun, and we sit there and say, okay, we need to have fun. We do racks, need to laugh. Hey, shut up. Don't listen to music. You focus.
Yeah.
Then you know you're in trouble. So between now and game time, the coaches are trying to get the guys. You've worked so hard in the offseason. These guys work so hard. You've prepared so hard in the summer. Preseason is a grind. Now let's go have fun. Let's go see who we are. Let's show everybody who we are. We're really good. Don't have to do any more than we can do. Let's be us. And then let Texas take care of itself if you're Ohio State or vice versa.
And Vince, when you played here in 2005, Coach was talking about the noise. As a quarterback, what was it like that night trying to communicate in front of that crowd?
It was definitely tough. But, Coach did a really good job the week before, prior up to the game. He had speakers at practice, and he had it turned all the way up. I'm like, Coach, really? We had practice, but he wanted to make sure that we practiced like it was a game situation. And I really feel like that helped us. And, staying on the same page with my offensive line, with my wide receivers, going through our signals. That's a major thing for a quarterback. You got to make sure everybody on the same page. So, what the guys got to do tomorrow, what Sayin and Arch got to do. A lot of people don't understand. With all of the excitement, with all the emotions, with all the hoopla, all these things go on the first game. And you get in the game, you jump outside. Okay, now we first and 15, which we all know first and 15 in college or in the pros is hard as shit.
and against these defenses,
and against these type of guys. And then you get a false start or you get a guy fumble a ball. That's what we want to do as quarterbacks. When we step out there, we want to hey, let's make sure we get everybody under control. Let's calm down. Let's relax. We've been in this position. Let's just go out and play football. And hopefully those guys do that, and they go out and have both sides of the ball, go out and have a good time and play the game that they love.
I want to get all four of your take on this because the college football traditionalist in me, and I'm pretty traditional when it comes to college football because I love it. I think the pageantry and everything is what makes it unique. I was skeptical when they expanded the playoff field. I didn't love the idea of it, and I think a few teams last year probably weren't playoff teams, and we saw some duds in the first round. The part I like about it, though, is that schools should not be afraid of these games now in this era. So I'll start with Beanie. Let's just go around the horn here. Your thoughts on how an expanded football kind of meshes with games like this, and is it good that tomorrow the losing team is still has a season ahead of them?
It's great. We're going to get more quality play across the board when we have games like this. We're not only games like this, but with the college football playoff being expanded, everybody's going to get a chance. No longer is it like the BCS or one game knocks you out of contention, or you're in a situation to where you want to schedule cupcakes non-conference because you don't want to risk having a blemish on your record and you being judged by that blemish. So I love it for the state of college football, for it to be expanded, and it gives everybody a neutral opportunity to get into the college football playoff and be fighting for what everybody wants, and that's a national championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, you've kind of been on both sides of it because you guys dropped the game to Va Tech got in and won it all. And then the next year, the team's probably better. The year
Yeah.
you lost to Michigan State, they're probably a better team, and then you got on the outside looking in.
Yeah, for sure, because back then it was like you rather lose early into a decent team than late to a great team. And that wasn't fair for teams who maybe had that one blemish later on in the season. So I think the 12-team playoffs gives you an opportunity for that Cinderella story, like a Boise State getting the first round bye. Now they changed the rules because of that. We want to make sure we try to still do our best job of getting the best 12 teams in those 12 slots, and with different implications. But it's great for college football. I am not for expanding more than 12. We already at that because it eats into the offseason a little bit too much. 12 teams is perfect, and we saw how and why you don't want to let an early loss like Ohio State, Oregon, losing to Oregon early, then ultimately to Michigan as well, hurt your record because clearly they're still one of the top 12 teams in the country.
I'm sure Coach, you, and I'm sure Coach Tressel, I'm sure Urban Meyer probably look back at a few of their teams and think, man, if only we had the expanded playoff back then.
Yeah, but the night we won here, I thought Ohio State was the other team that if they had won that night, and we're down to a play at the end of the game, then they would have played for the national championship instead of us. But after that night, they really didn't have a chance to get back. And I do think the other thing we need to do is we need to listen to players. That body takes a hit when you're playing a 12-team playoff. Who are you going to play in preseason? When do you start the season? How many open dates do you have? What about the conference championship game? So you got, Vince and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, you got to listen to the players because they're the ones that have to play. And that's really, really important as we go through it. And you just saw the SEC go to 9 in-conference games. That's to keep the teams from playing gimmies outside of the league. Yep. So you're going to be playing better teams now, and it's going to hurt the lesser teams because they're not going to be able to win their 7 games to go to a bowl game like they used to because they're going to have to play better teams. So I think we're seeing better competition across the board, and I think that's good. And I also think now we'll see more games like this, and LSU going to Clemson, and Alabama going to Florida State, since the season's not over if you lose tomorrow in those games.
Vince is like, what's the problem? Just run the table, win the BCS. I do.
Yeah.
Just don't lose.
Just don't lose.
Yeah, just don't lose. But I love it. I love it. I mean, one of the things we talked about, what they starting to think about was the play-in. The NBA does it, and I like that. Now you really put it in the players and team hands now. But I love the playoffs. Man, I love it. I enjoy watching it. I miss the game so much. I wish we had the playoffs, man. Because you got to do it in the pros anyway.
Yeah.
And one thing that you guys and everybody that's sitting up here, we love the game so much. When we have to play that last game, we like, shit, I want to play another one.
Yeah.
But you got to wait till the next year to play again. So me, especially as Texas, and I know you guys feel the same way, Ohio State, like, you want to play these big games. You want to compare it to the Floridas and the guys that you never played up against because they in another conference and things like that. So I'm happy that they got the 12 teams in there, and I hope they bring in the play-in to keep the ones that's upset. Now we're going to give you a chance. You get your butt whooped. That's what we was trying to tell you. You shouldn't be here anyway. But I love that they starting to think about the play-in, so it puts it in everybody's hands. But I do love the 12-team playoff.
And these guys talk about these games more than they do the others.
100%. Yeah.
If you're playing a group of 5 team, you don't even remember it.
And
but
no
these
offense,
games separate.
And no offense to the group of 5, but it's been a big argument this past offseason with Buckeye Nation and Buckeye fans about what do you rather do, beat your rivals or win a national title? Well, when you look at the history of your rivals, you're going to have a chance to play them every year, and you want to keep winning every year, but you're not going to be in a position to say you're competing for a national title every year. So the argument lives. I think the argument is dead. I'd rather have a national title than beating my rivals, but thank God I didn't have to pick. Thank God I didn't have to pick.
Cardinals like,
I'm glad I have to pick either because I don't know which way I go with that.
Well, we think both these teams are going to be in the running for that national championship trophy right behind Beanie Wells. So let's get our Dr. Pepper predictions. Beanie, your Dr. Pepper prediction tomorrow. Who wins and what?
Oh, man. It's going to be a tough ball game. Both of these teams have unbelievable talent, unbelievable coaches. But I got to go Ohio State wins this one in a close matchup, 24-28.
Oh, you got to win this thing in spread. Okay. Clearly, I got Ohio State. I got Ohio State 27-24.
Okay. How about you, Vince?
I got my Longhorns, baby. I got my Longhorns. 24-17. Let's go. I had to stand up, baby. You know, I had to stand up.
We were friends for a good half hour, Vince.
Yeah.
It was a good run we had. How about you,
I
Coach?
liked that guy.
Who do you like here?
I'm going with the Longhorns at 28-21.
Okay, so it's 2-2. I guess I'll break the tie. It's Ohio State 27-21. Buckeyes gonna win this thing.
And where do you live?
I live in Ohio. 42 of my
Security,
42 years.
security. Can we get this guy out of here?
And once again, guys, if you don't listen to them, Vince and Mack are on the Stampede podcast. It's fantastic. Make sure
Thank
you
you, guys.
download
Thank
and
you, guys.
subscribe. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Once again, give it up for Vince Young and Mack Brown, everyone. And we'll be right back with more script coming up next.